Okay, so after a long delay of about half hour, they're flying the AP over H, which means racing is done for today. So we got the whole fleet going in en masse. Back to the club. Okay, so we have Mary Ellen Brown here from Rochester. I saw you on the race committee boat. How was that?
Oh, it's interesting. They all speak Italian, so I don't know much about what's going on unless I ask or they tell me something.
So now you're a sailor, you're a Sunfish sailor and maybe a Thistle sailor, I guess?
Yes.
So you have knowledge of how and what you're looking at. So what, from your sailor's perspective on the committee boat, what can you share with us that we probably don't see?
Well, there was a lot of shifts today, and the fleet was pretty spread out. I mean, the jury was out whether left or right was favored one way or the other because it was just like flat. Everybody was just spread out wide. Half the fleet went right and half the fleet went left.
Can you tell from your...
We're just not high enough to see the patterns on the water. Once you guys get past the gates, you can't see much. So the race committee's communicating with his team, who's all out all over the course, and telling him what they're seeing up at the top.
So now that's from your race committee point of view. Now, if you were on your sailboat in a Sunfish, what would be your strategy going into a day like today?
Trying to figure out the oscillations and to see which side would be sort of where the better pressure's coming in, and then just make my best guess. Going up the middle always is fraught with a little bit of dirty air and disturbed stuff. So, how do you make that decision? I don't know.
Right. Now, doing race committee, sometimes you see some mistakes. Were you like, what is that person doing? What is that person doing?
Well, it's always at the start that you see those mistakes. You're like, why is somebody riding it so close to the line and they could just be shoved right over? So, a committee like this, they're going to throw you out. I mean, they were being right on, and they were tagging numbers early and just making sure they knew who was going to be pushing it. So just be really careful about, sticking your nose out when you don't need to.
So the race committee is pretty on top of things, and they're not afraid to write down a number.
Right. And they wanted, I'm sure that they wanted to make sure that they were on it right away so that we didn't have repeating offending. So the starts have been pretty clean.
Nice. Now, one last question before we end. Why did they do an AP over H today to abandon the last race?
So the wind had shifted pretty hard left, like 20, 30, 40 degrees left. I mean, at one point it was way left, and it wasn't coming back, and there wasn't enough room to rotate the course. And they also couldn't move the committee boat. First of all, it's a big deal. It's a very deep lake. But they would have had to move the committee boat over, and there wasn't enough runway to get a decent-sized course in. It wasn't sticking on the left all the time.
Oh, nice. And
also, they were worried about the ferries. There apparently is some ferry concern.
Okay, great. That's really good to have a perspective like that. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one.
Okay.
Thanks.